Welcome back to Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus. Josiah Gray back out for another round and back to the top of the lineup with Brandon Nimmo. Lefty 1 for 2 on the evening. Ground ball that rolls foul.
I really like this call by Dave. Put your guy back out there. It's a 3-3 game. Show your trust in him. It's early in the season. Yeah, the bullpen's up and going, but you allow your guy to go out there and continue to build his confidence.
Well, and that was one thing that we heard from Jim Palmer a lot is the young guys that you don't know how to stretch and you don't know how to work through adversity unless you're allowed to be left in it.
And young guys don't need to be coddled. You know, sometimes people feel like, no, you got to take care of the young guy. You know, you got to try to keep him happy, make sure he's in a good mental space. At some point, you got to go out there and compete and figure it out. And he's, you know, he had his back against the wall a little bit. It's a 3-3 game, though. It's a fresh game. It might as well be 0-0.
Dave Martinez said that lineup has flipped over from being pretty veteran to a young clubhouse, and that he's had to reinstate the dad role a little bit. You know, he has been a little softer for some of the guys in some ways, but no, you're absolutely right. These are those situations. He knows that line of where to hold your hand and where to kind of push you out of that nest and go, nah, you're going to fly.
Yeah, we all need it. Gray trying to go back to that slider. He was able to get Nimmo on it in the first at bat, get Nimmo to swing over it. Looked like he may be one with the heater this time, though.
73rd pitch, and it's a miss. Sean Doolittle up in the Nationals bullpen.
Yeah, he tried to get the heater in right there. Even if you miss with it, you miss up, and it still sets up this breaking ball, hopefully, you know, to his back foot.
Gray said that now that he's cracked his starting day rotation, his next goal is to figure out what kind of pitcher he wants to be.
This one put out into right field. Juan Soto on the run. It gets past his glove. Nimmo on the fly. He digs in for second. Helmet is off. Soto with the throw in. Nimmo slides to third, and the throw to Franco is late. A triple for Brandon Nimmo.
We got some Mets fans in the house. People clapping for that triple here.
You think Buck's impressed? You'd never know it, would you?
Nimmo's 17th triple in his career.
That's an interesting selection right there. Right here, your third time around, that's when you come in, and he throws this changeup. He threw him the changeup, which he only throws 3% of the time. And when things like this happen, you understand why you don't use it as much.
So I want to ask you something, CY, there on that replay. He looked like he kind of tipped that visor to purposely knock off the helmet. Is that a move? You got to get that aerodynamic
Hey, sometimes
boost?
you have your players that are just flat out throw it off. Put their head down, be aerodynamic, cut this wind.
Brings the infield well in for Starling Marte. 3-3 ball game.
You know, Nimmo just learned to slide head first recently. This past, I think it was about a year ago. He said, it's about time for me to learn how to slide head first. He's making use of it here.
You know, Hannah, that's pretty common. It's a lot of guys that only know how to slide with one leg, you know, their right leg under or their left leg under. It's a lot of guys who don't know how to slide head first, especially younger players, because as they were coming through the minor leagues, they were taught with all the injuries associated with sliding head first that they just stopped doing it all throughout. But I think it's definitely faster getting you to the base. I just hate to see guys sliding head first to home.
Well, and even outside of just the speed, I mean, we've seen moves where they're able to do that swim move when there's that close play right there, and you get that one hand working around, and it's bang, bang, but, you know, they're able to make it safe. You can't do that as cleanly with your feet. We're not exactly bipeds.
Speaking of sliding, I'm really excited about next week. We have Jackie Robinson Day. We get to see Trey Turner.
I tell you, I get the chills talking about L.A. and Jackie Robinson Day. That's an unbelievable day. It's quite literally a Good Friday. Let's take a look at the slide again here for Nimmo. Not quite Trey Turner-esque, CY, but it's a good one.
Very aware of his surroundings, though. Eyes open. A lot of times you see guys slide, eyes are closed. You're just hoping that you feel the bag at some point.
It was spring training 2021 that he learned to slide head first.
He went in eyes wide open. He was that kid jumping in the pool without goggles.
I still struggle to open my eyes underwater.
Don't ever ask me to.
Oh, yeah. With contacts, you just can't. They'll float out.
Oh, good pitch. It's a big spot for him. You have the infield in. Nemo is definitely seeing it through. You would not be running on contact in this situation, mainly because you wouldn't want to be thrown out at home and then in turn have one out with the run on first base. You're not going to allow that to happen. So you're going to see this ball through or hope for a D fly ball.
It's a good spot for Marte. Runner on third, no outs. He hit 374 last year with runners on base.
Infield toes on the grass. Gray, 2-2. And a foul ball. You know, I have to tell you this too, CY. We were talking about those foul balls earlier. I've had a lot in the booth. And we actually had a fall league where I still can't remember the hitter, but he fouled like 5 in a row. But they all went straight back to me in the press box. And so I kept ducking and dodging and diving and moving the laptop and moving all of the equipment we were using. And I finally thought I was clear. And then that 6th one came back. And when I tell you that it hit me square in the chest, busted the keys off of my laptop, they're not that fun. So I'm not kidding. Bring the glove. I was okay. This one's a shot right down the line past third base for Starling Marte. Easily scoring comes Brandon Nimmo. Mets take it back 4-3, a double for Marte.
And that may be it for Gray right there. I could be wrong. That may be it. That breaking ball is starting to get hit a little bit more. He's leaving it over the middle of the plate.
4 extra base hits off of Gray tonight. A home run, 2 doubles, the triple from Nimmo.
It's actually a pretty good pitch. After seeing it on replay, Marte does a great job pulling his hands in, keeping that ball fair, and getting that double down the line.
And Dave Martinez out. He makes the official sign over to the bullpen. So that is the end of the line for Josiah Gray.
The game was like a 4-seam right down the middle, maybe a little bit of first pitch of the game was like a 4-seam right down the middle, maybe a little bit away, a strike. Then the next pitch was, then he threw me a fastball that followed up. It was running from him.
Oh, good. Yeah. Inside it.
Curveball.
Josiah Gray curveball that Francisco Lindor was not a fan of. He'll get to stand in against Steve Cishek. So Gray done 4+ innings, 6 hits, 5 strikeouts. And of course, the line stays open as Cishek inherits the runner at second in Starling Marte.
And it's great seeing Lindor and Walker sit there and talk about pitches. You know, Walker is sitting there learning as well, and maybe that's something that's carrying over from guys like Scherzer being in the clubhouse, is that guys are more in tune and wanting to learn about the game completely. So seeing Lindor and Walker right there working together is great for baseball.
Take a look. 74 appearances last year for the righty reliever. We've been told this is a fluid bullpen.
Oh, my God. Oh, no.
Buck Showalter's immediately out. We talked about how this was a really tense game yesterday.
And both dugouts are out there on the field.
Dugouts have cleared. Bullpens are coming out now. 3 Mets hit by a pitch yesterday against the Nationals. It sounded like Buck and Dave had cleared the air. They know that they're trying to find a grip on these new baseballs, and it's just really tough. But you've got a star like Lindor. You're trying to see him have a turnaround year with this club that he has signed such a big contract with.
Important to note, though, that was scary to see Lindor go down, but he is up, he is walking around, he's staying on the perimeter of that scrum.
And you've got veterans like Nelson Cruz who are going to keep people at bay right now. Pete Alonso got lucky yesterday as that ricocheted again right off the ear flap. He had a busted up lip. He was negative for concussion protocol. You see Eric Young Jr., Soto, a couple other guys who are taking the time to check on Lindor. Alonso, we mentioned, he was one of the ones hit. He's not going to be happy about this either.
That was extremely scary. You never like to see a guy get hit, you know, above the shoulders in any kind of way. I'm really happy to see Lindor get up because on live view, it looked like it hit him square in the face. And a lot of times when you're turning to bunt, you're in the most vulnerable position for an inside pitch because you literally can't get out of the way.
And for you, CY, mistake or not, what does that mean to you when you see Buck was out at home plate almost instantaneously?
Oh, it's clearly a mistake. But at the same time, a few guys have been hit. You saw Alonso get hit yesterday up high. You have your guy Lindor get hit up high. And it's sooner or later, tensions flare and guys get fed up. And they say, hey, man, if you can't throw inside, don't try to come in there because it's very dangerous.
So it looks like they're getting some separation here now. They've checked Lindor. He looks like he's got all of his teeth. He's still trying to get his bearings about him as now he's taken off the shin guard. Take another look at this.
Oh my God!
And you hear this immediately. Lindor trying to get out of the way of this. Don't be fooled. That didn't hit the bat and ricochet. That was right up and in, and you get a lot of that. Lindor has the mic on him. That chain has been wrapped around it all night, so you are right in the thick of things when you're hearing that. And again, it's cold. The temperatures have dropped significantly since first pitch, so maintaining that control. Whole team immediately out behind Buck. He talked about how quickly he built a bond, and they've gotten to know and respect each other, and how much this way again goes McCann and Pete Alonso. And that's what scares you right there. Again, you know this is not intentional, but when you start talking about a hand is bad enough because that can take alters
This season,
And you're more
slots.
And I understand. There's no way that you're trying. You could potentially get
Buck Showalter. Is Lindor tried to get out of the way of a pitch that ultimately came right. Suddenly saw a
clear retaliation. It would be rivalry for the season long.
Not be December for Max Scherzer.
Out. It's a cage. He can go in there, do some arm swings, do some workouts, throw some pitches, make sure that he stays loose. I mean, with the guy like, Max, he's been here before. He's had long layovers before. He understands his body. He knows what to do in this situation to stay ready.
And we saw the wild look in his eye when the light delay happened to begin the game, and he immediately turned. He said, I'm going back down in there. I've got work to do. So Sean Doolittle lightening the situation again, a guy who is also beloved by Nationals fans. He's back this year. He's the face of the City Connect jerseys. He got to get a little narrative voice on. Here comes the bloom. And unfortunately, the Doolittle lightsaber of the World Series has been broken, and Martinez said he's not about to be the one to replace it.
Melanie, you brought up the tacky baseballs they tested a couple years ago in the minors. Those tests have progressed at the Olympics this past summer. They were using Japanese baseball that's not pre-tacked, but the way it's made gives it some tack. Brought some back to show guys around the league. Some of them really liked it. And around that same time, MLB was also giving pitchers pre-tacked baseballs to test.
Team USA was all about, hey, can we just bring cases of these home? Important to note now that Luis Guillorme is the pinch runner in place of Francisco Lindor. So it'll be Marte at second, Guillorme at first, and in steps Pete Alonso to face Sean Doolittle.
If you're Pete Alonso right here, you just saw your teammate get hit in the face right here, and you have two runners on with nobody out. He's not thinking about, a little single the other way.
He got hit in the face last night.
And he got hit in the face yesterday. With Doolittle, he's an 11-year veteran. He throws a lot of fastballs, over 80% fastballs. You know what you're going to get. And Alonso's about to be ready for it, and you know what he's going for.
Nobody out and 2 on, 4-3 Mets lead.
This is where you try to make a statement if you're Alonso.
And if you're the Nationals, this is where you try to keep it from totally unraveling. This was a well-matched game.
Alonso sends this one high. Staying out over the infield. Bell calls for it. Towering pop-up belongs to the first baseman, and the first out finds its way here in the 5th. Again, it was a triple for Nimmo. He was scored on a double by Starling Marte before they went to the bullpen. Francisco Lindor gets hit. Now it's Sean Doolittle. So we've had 14 minutes between pitches. You talk about the average timing in between action right now, and certainly the Friday night fireworks have been here.
Doolittle, a little journeyman. I played with him in Arizona. I had him in Oakland. All-star for the Nats in 2018. Just a very reliable piece to have in your bullpen.
He'll spin and take a look back at Marte.
He's from South Jersey, just like me.
And the biggest reason of all to love him right there.
Exactly.
Now, they've been a great attachment to this community. They've been well involved. Eduardo Escobar, strike one from Doolittle.
Escobar, great signing by the Mets. I mean, you're talking about a guy who has power from both sides, you know, can play multiple positions, can play shortstop, can play third base, can move around the field, and be a pretty consistent hitter with the potential to hit up to 35 home runs like he did in 2019. 2021, 28 homers between AZ and Milwaukee. And you don't see those guys come, especially switch hitters. You don't see those guys coming around too often.
He would credit his power to Fogo de Chao. Do you guys know this story?
No.
The Eduardo Escobar
I would
Fogo de Chao
love to
story?
be powered by Fogo de Chao.
So, yeah, Fogo.
We got another heads-up play. Duck, dodge, dive, whatever you can do to get out of the way of tonight's game.
Some backstory. Okay, so in Minnesota, he hit a home run after going to Fogo de Chao. So excited about it. He went back the next night, continued on a hot streak. His teammates started shouting Fogo power whenever he hit a home run. Signed with the Diamondbacks when he was in Arizona. He got to meet the Fogo de Chao president because they're headquartered there. Gave him a Fogo de Chao black card. Now Eduardo Escobar eats for free at Fogo de Chao. Although he did not eat for free, I think, when he took 70 members of the team out to Fogo de Chao and the Mets. I think they made him probably pay for some of that.
Yeah, you might want to pay for that. Brooke, what do you have on unlimited meats at Fogo de Chao?
I was going to say, what do we have to do in order to meet the president of Fogo de Chao and get, free Fogo de Chao for life? That's pretty incredible.
I think we just have to say it a few more times on this broadcast.
Yeah,
I will take any food.
Right, exactly. I feel like I'm kind of embarrassed to say this. I have not actually been there. I should go. We should take a group trip there.
You know who loves Fogo de Chao? All baseball players.
Not more than we love Benihanas.
Ooh, I do love some Benihana.
Why are you doing this to me?
I don't know. I mean, that's like the commonplace that all
I will
baseball teams-
absolutely make you take over on the mic while I can go get some. We're going to go back out to the outfield here and get some more Shake Shack.
What is that considered? Teppanyaki? Is that the right word? Teppanyaki, where they cook right there in front of you? That's the common grounds for all
Hibachi?
baseball teams. Hibachi. Hibachi.
That is a word. You did say a word though a minute ago. That does exist.
Hibachi. Baseball players, that's where they gel. That's where they vibe and get their team chemistry. Is at hibachi restaurants.
Well, you get the onion choo-choo train.
Very true.
How do you not bond over that? 2 outs. Robinson Cano. Pitch inside from Doolittle. I mean, really, now I'm hungry. This is. Thanks a lot,
Yeah.
CY.
I'm sorry. But on other news, Buck, earlier when we were talking to him, talking about Robinson Cano, you don't really know what you were going to expect out of him this season. You know that he can hit naturally. You don't know what his attitude is going to be like. Buck said when he came into the clubhouse, he gave some pretty motivational speeches for opening day to his teammates to have those guys motivated and showed that he can still be a leader of this team. You know, he's a veteran guy. He's been around the block. He's played for the Yankees. He's played for the Mets. He's been in the playoffs. He has a lot of experience, and he's won before. So having a guy like that who's ready to come back and ready to reinsert himself into that lineup and be a factor is very big for this team.
And he's seeing the tail end of his 10-year deal. And for you, we've talked about this too. There goes a long way when you come in with humility. You wear something on your chest when you know you should, and how much quicker that gets you back in, not only into the clubhouse, but back into being on that totem of guys who are respected and looked up to. He waits, fouls this one off.
Yeah, Mel, it's all about accountability. And that's all that fans want to see. That's what your teammates want to see. And you're held accountable. You know, you serve your time, you serve your suspension, whatever it is. Now, we got to get past it and just play baseball.
He's trying to extend the gap here for the Mets. They've got a 1-run lead. Triple-double hit by pitch. 2 on, 2 out.
Huge beneficiary of the new DH rule right here. Like being able to have that bat in the lineup, even if he's not going to play second base on a regular basis, being in the National League, being able to have Cano as your DH is huge.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that yet this game, the way that different National League teams are approaching having a DH now. The Mets are doing a sort of particular thing where they have a lot of guys who could be DHs. They're using it as a way to get Pete Alonso off his feet for a day, a way to get some of their outfielders off their feet for a day. They have a lot of guys they want to get into their lineup, and they're using the DH to do that. Over in Philly, though, I think they went for like a completely different tactic. They went out and they signed a specific DH, and then they signed another specific DH, and now they have 2 of them.
Just like the Nets. You go out and sign Nelson Cruz. I mean, that's huge. You have 2 legit DHs here in a National League game.
And I think that's something really cool we got to talk about as well, with Nelson Cruz being somebody that Ruiz had looked up to growing up. Did you ever have a situation like that, CY, where you got to play with a guy that you had also looked up to coming up through your career?
Yeah, I mean, one I can think of offhand is Derek Jeter. I had the special opportunity.
It's a decent one.
I don't know if you heard that name before, but he's known around the streets a little bit.
Vaguely.
I mean, I had the opportunity to play, for the Yankees during Jeter's final year, which was pretty special for me as a player.
That final game of his, you would really think, and you still hear to this day, it was scripted by the baseball gods with the way that it all unfolded.
And what you learn out of all of it is that he's just another guy. Very down to earth, super cool, big trash talker like myself. So we got along great.
Doolittle ready. And he works a full count here with Cano. I think the best thing I ever heard was someone once said availability sometimes factors in more than ability. And then they said, Jeter was a guy who had some outstanding plays, yes, but he didn't go out there and just floor you. It was the fact that he was consistent. Every day he came on it instead of being that streaky, he has some good days or he had some good years. He was just there day in, day out.
He led by example.
2 outs, 2 on. Cano, a full count. And again, the Nationals not using pitch comms for any of their pitchers so far this season. They can choose to change that at any point they want or not. Payoff, Cano golfs this one. Back pick, spin, the throw to first, and it's in time. Doolittle gets the Nationals out of this, but the Mets with a 1-run lead. They're up 4-3. Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV+. Scherzer's first return to Nationals Park. Mets and Nationals, it's going to be an interesting National League East this year. He delivers to Alcides Escobar to open up the 5th. Luis Guillorme is in at shortstop to replace Lindor, as you would expect when he came in as the pinch runner in the previous inning. A strike evens the count. Again, Lindor was showing a bunt before a pitch came up and in from the new reliever in Steve Cishek. He was immediately ejected from the ball game afterwards. And we're very lucky. We've got a lot of people jumping on board this year to give you guys every ounce of insight that we can into the game. Major League umpire Brian Gorman, he served from 1993 to 2021 as Escobar flashes the sword at this one, 2-2. And he's been able to take this all in. You don't expect to see everything that's been going on in just game 2 of the season. The rain is now falling. If you've got your baseball bingo cards out, go ahead and fill them up. Strikeout for Scherzer. And 1 down. So we mentioned Lindor getting hit. We'll take another look at that here in case you somehow missed it. Cishek, just his second pitch.
Oh my God! This seems like just a very unfortunate situation to where you're assuming Cishek feels terrible about it as well, and he feels attacked when guys are, assuming that he did that on purpose.
First pitch home, and it's a strike to D. Gordon, 0-1. And we've got Gorman with us now. What was your take on everything that unfolded? Again, Buck leading the charge out of the Mets dugout. That's the 4th guy that he's seen hit in a day and a half, and ultimately Cishek was ejected.
Well, yeah, bench clearings are a very, very serious situation, and you have 50 people on the field and 4 umpires trying to keep calm. And the first thing you want to do is separate the aggressors and get everybody back towards their dugouts. But in this situation, I think Cishek got ejected because of his actions after the pitch and not because he intentionally threw at him, because I don't think he did intentionally throw at him. So I think Crew Chief Mark Carlson did an excellent job here. You want to get rid of the aggressor. You want to stop future problems. And this was the 4th time somebody got hit in 2 days. You can't predict the future, but you want to stop this situation from getting any worse. So I think that's why Cishek got ejected.
Yeah. So you said
he kind of came off the mound and said, "Come on," like that kind of aggression baseball does not want. And they want all 4 umpires to get together and discuss the situation. And I think that's what happened.
Well, and that was my next question, was what were his actions afterward that would have warranted that, as the pitch fouled away after D. Gordon ground out. But when you look back at that, you mentioned managing the managers. What are those conversations usually being had between the 2 skips and the umpiring crew?
The one manager says this was on purpose, and the other manager whose pitcher's on the mound says it wasn't. So you almost have to decipher, what you think happened. It's very hard to get into a pitcher's head. You have to take the situation into consideration, and anything in the past. Some of them are easy. The guy hits a couple home runs, and the next guy gets hit. When he does it on purpose, it's easy. When he doesn't do it on purpose, and the ball gets away from him, then you have to start. Well, are they going to retaliate? Are they not going to retaliate? So we're really trying to predict what's going to happen in the future.
Scherzer with 2 outs, and the 1-2. He gets Hernandez to chase. It's another strikeout for Max Scherzer. Clean 3 up, 3 down in the 5th. And again, thank you to Brian Gorman for explaining all of that for us. Mets on top by a run on Friday Night Baseball. Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, presented by Q Health. I'm Melanie Newman alongside Chris Young, Hannah Kaiser, and Brooke Fletcher here at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. This has been one, if you've missed it, well, we don't know what to tell you here, but we have an answer for you, though. Earlier, we asked Siri who had the most hits for the Mets last season. The answer, guys, if you listened, Pete Alonso with 147 hits. He also led homers, RBI, and runs scored in addition to OPS, the whole thing. But I mentioned that. I didn't say the numbers, but I did mention that.
Now that you bring it up, I do remember you saying